So I had an unexpected adventure recently, and although it wasn't as drastic... Oh gosh, David, don't start the story from the middle. You know what, you're right, I'm not Tarantino. So I had an unexpected adventure recently, and although it wasn't as drastic as me getting hit by a car, I figured I'd share it with the hopes of others being able to learn from my experiences. So not too long ago, I ended up in the ER as a result of some post-surgery complications. I lost a fair amount of blood, and after about 4 hours of no improvements in my condition, I started to think about the possibility of dying. The staff around me assured me that I was in good hands, and that even if I had lost more blood, getting access to a blood transfusion wouldn't be that difficult. I knew logically that the probability of dying was probably low, if not none, but that didn't stop my mind from reflecting on the possibility of mortality. As I stared at the ceiling for what seemed like an eternity, I started to think about the life I had led thus far. Was I happy with my decisions? What about my achievements? Would I die with any regrets? What does the fox actually say? From a rational standpoint, it doesn't strike me as strange, knowing that someday my life will end. But before those moments, I had never really seriously asked myself those types of questions before. With nothing else to occupy me as I laid there, those questions bounced back and forth in my mind. As one who generally thinks they know themselves, it took me by surprise how I didn't have an immediate answer to those questions. Fortunately, I had nothing else vying for my time and thoughts. After putting together the pieces, I want to share 4 lessons from my experience. Regarding regrets, if I'm honest with myself, I think I would regret not being more authentic to the people around me. Like me? Had I actually died, I don't think the people around me would have had a full picture of the real me. I used to, and to an extent still do, have a general fear of judgment, and as a result, I always felt the need to play it safe in social environments. I didn't express my personality to the fullest, and didn't take opportunities to share my thoughts if I felt someone would disagree. Now, I'm at least trying to embrace the idea that no matter what you do in life, there's always going to be haters. The way I try to think about it now is that it'd be a real tragedy to forego the possibility of really great friendships with those who share my beliefs and values because I was afraid to be anything less than wholly and unapologetically myself. I came to realize the question of whether I was happy with my achievements or not was the wrong question. Or at least, it was the wrong question for me. If I'm honest with myself, just a bit before that time, I'd say that a lot of my goals revolved around financial success. My time in the ER quickly taught me that nobody ought to wish they made more money when it comes time to face the mortality. There's a lot I can say on the topic of money, and we'll probably put those into their own videos in the future, but long story short, I no longer think it's as important as I used to and others might. The better question to ask myself was whether I lived out my values to the fullest of my ability. To which I can honestly answer, probably not, but I don't think my attempts were bad enough that I'd regret anything. That said, I knew that going forward, I wanted to double down on becoming a person who prioritized living out their values over achieving certain milestones. I want to do a lot of good for others, and I don't want to care about what others might think about how I live my life. I truly believe that a life spent enriching the lives of others is far from a life wasted. I came to terms with the reality that life doesn't operate on a linear scale between start and finish. Historically, the passage of time usually meant I was at least making progress on at least one thing in my life, be it getting through school, raises and promotions at work, saving and investing money, or losing weight. During this phase of my life, I've been trying to focus on a lot of simultaneous goals. I want to build up my physique, start singing lessons, start a YouTube channel, and grind my way towards financial success. Instead, my recovery impeded me from making progress on the above on the timelines that I wanted. One of the hardest parts of this ordeal at first was struggling with the feeling that I had to put my life on pause. I had this feeling of fear that I would fall behind others and the ideal version of myself, if such a thing were to even exist. While I was stuck at home recovering, I came across the topic of stoicism on YouTube. I'll probably talk about this more at length in future videos, but in the moment, my takeaway was to realize that there's just so many things in life outside of my control, and that the only thing I really could control was my response to what happened to me. And the more I reflected on these themes, I realized it was pretty unhealthy for me to put so much pressure on myself for all the things that were outside of my control. When you look for reasons to be grateful, you'll find them. When I was in the ER, to stop my bleeding, the doctors had to do something that to this day was the most pain I ever went through. They had to shove these rods up my nose, and it hurt like heck. I cried almost non-stop for about 36 hours. But after all the complications were resolved and my health stabilized, I began to appreciate the smallest things in life. Just the ability to breathe and drink without pain or discomfort felt wonderful. Each day felt like a gift as opposed to something to be taken for granted. It's been a few months since then, and I still hope I never forget the enjoyment of these simple things. When I share about these experiences with my family and friends, a lot of them view what happened to me as horrible. But from my perspective, I can only look back on that event with gratitude. And the reason I say this is because I'm thankful for the wake-up call of the scarcity and hence value of life. Without that happening, I probably would have lived on autopilot for a lot longer, not realizing the preciousness of life. Since then, I revisit the question of what now from time to time. I'm still going to die someday, and that's okay. What I've concluded to not be okay is to live a life not recognizing all the beautiful experiences and fantastic opportunities along the way. I used to rush through life, laser focused on achieving the end result. But now, I view it in a new light. I look forward to what each day can bring. It opened my eyes to the question of, what contribution do I want to make in my life? And I still don't think I have a clear answer to that question. But for now, the question itself got my butt into gear to start my YouTube journey. Wow, I can't believe it. My very first YouTube video. I've delayed making this video for the longest time because I just kept wanting to make it perfect. And I recognize now that perfectionism was holding me back, and I should have just gotten started. I have a lot more to say, but I'll leave it at this for now. If you're interested in following along with my stories and the lessons I learn in life, consider subscribing. If you like this video, I'd appreciate it if you left a like, or if you thought this video sucked, constructive criticism is welcome too. If you've experienced something similar, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. And I'm new to this whole Instagram, Twitter stuff, but if you'd like, you can follow me in the links below. Bye!